Coming right there.
This week, our live stream, we're not in my basement. We are down at the Outpost Armory. We're not far from the actual Barrett factory down here in Nashville. And I'm here to tell you, Ronnie, it's a total pleasure to have you here. A lot of our viewers, they see me putting up pictures all the time. Everybody loves war pictures and stuff. And combat is 30 days of boredom for 30 seconds of excitement, without a doubt. And it's always hilarious because a lot of the times you've got a Barrett 50 with Raufoss rounds. And Ronnie, I'm a big fan of your work. And there's a lot of people in Africa, Afghanistan, and Iraq that are not big fans of your work because of. So I see Steve. Steve, you're gonna have to snuggle if you're gonna get in the frame here a little bit. We'll get you in. Real quick though, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor we got right here, Euro Optic. Decent stuff there, inventory. You guys know that it's real time. Anything listed in their website as in stock is actually in stock, unlike a lot of the other ones, and that just pisses me off when I order like 4 brand new Safariland holsters, and I pay for it, and then I find out they're on back order. It kind of bugs me to no end. So, anyways, guys, they got the stuff. They ship it fast. It gets there fast. Good stuff indeed. Your optics, thank you. But really, thank you, Ronnie, for coming on. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's a
pleasure.
Thank you, and thank you to Chris Barrett and the crew and staff of the Outpost Armory for hosting us. The crew is just awesome.
What do you guys think? Should we have Steve snuggle a little more? I'm actually going to move this just look, because Steve won't move. Steve won't move a little bit.
All right, there we go.
You got to ask Ronnie to move over.
We can scoot your way. I'm antisocial.
Steve actually called me antisocial because I'm not a hugger. That's just not how I was. That's not how I was. So
he'll teach you.
Oh, I don't doubt that for a second. I don't.
Yeah,
guys,
see, here it starts. Ronnie
Barrett, hands down one of the best Americans I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. All right, Ronnie, where did we leave off before I so rudely knocked you off the internet?
Well, it's been so many years ago, I can't remember now. Let's see.
All right, let's start at the beginning. 40 years of the Barrett 52, the 50 cal, the M-82. Yeah. Was it actually 1982?
It was in 82. Yeah, a fellow in Nashville, who was Pony Maples, called me up and wanted to know if I could come photograph his gunboat that day.
Okay.
Now, before that, we're going to start at the beginning. I was a shootist.
Okay.
Say, how'd you get? Do I have a microphone? Is it working?
Yeah, your mic's working.
Okay.
Ronnie's mic's working. Yeah.
Kind of good enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'd go out. There's a picture of my 3 other brothers and I. So every weekend we'd all go out and go shooting. We'd lay all of our rifles.
I got some great pictures here. I apologize they're not up on the screen, but Ronnie, you just talk away and I will snuggle through these puppies for you.
It's, I think people that are gun people are born that way. Would you agree?
That's fair.
It starts with a BB gun, and then it goes to a .22 rifle, and then it goes to a shotgun. And
BB gun wars in high school.
Yeah,
little
go out
stuff
shooting
like that.
little birds and stuff.
Yep.
I didn't have a Red Ryder.
No,
I don't think.
I didn't have no fancy like that. No.
But anyway, it progressed into the rifles and pistols and machine guns and things like that. Back in those days, it was easier to own a machine gun. And I did the reloading thing. That's a 100-yard group with a 44 mag.
100 yards.
Yeah, so I was really good.
I guess.
It's back when my hand was smooth. As you get older, it's...
Yeah, I got this little quiver like that. The problem I have, though, is this is my shooting hand.
That's the shooting hand.
Yeah.
And did a little detective work or police work with the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
Pony Maples called, and the photographer didn't show up the day that he was going to have this gunboat on the Percy Priest Lake. And so he said, could you come help us out? And I said, sure, So January 1 in 1982, gathered up my camera and headed down there and attract a lot of attention on a fishing lake with a Browning 50 cal and a Mark 19 on the back and all this other kind of stuff. So we were photographing that, and that big Browning just sits there and looks at you.
It does, without a doubt.
It is a beautiful guy. And so as we had a quiet moment, I was talking to Pony and said, I've always wanted a 50 cal, but I don't really need a machine gun because they're a little more difficult to play with.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm thinking about just making me a T-bolt or a bolt action or something like that. He said, you know, if anybody ever had a semi-automatic, they'd have something, because that would really be nice. And I was one of those kids that, you know, I thought I could do everything. So I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll go back and design one up and build it, and if you like it, maybe we can build together.
Yeah.
And he said,
Yeah.
well, sure, kid. You know, what do you tell a 27-year-old kid? So
little did we know.
Well,
Yeah.
I went back and got on the dining room table and got out my art sketch pad and started sketching out three-dimensional pictures of what the thing would look like. I first made the whole gun full length,
Yeah.
and it took me about 2 months to draw that up. And then I went around trying to find a machine shop that would take me seriously enough to make it. And I finally found in this one-bay garage, click over a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, well, you know, I wanted to pay
You want me
tribute
to
to
go
that
back?
fellow right there,
Okay.
Ed Ezel. The first thing I did was I bought this book, Small Arms of the World by Ed Ezel, which that's a picture of him there.
Okay.
And from that, I learned how the 50 cal worked, the Browning, and
Yep.
all other guns worked, and it made sense to me. You know, it just clicked. You've seen a computer program where it's rolling the object around that's being drawn.
You didn't
or
have
something like
that then.
I had that in my head.
Yeah.
But so
Okay.
I could take these, like I know what the bolt looks like, and I could roll the bolt around in my head and see it's supposed to it's going to be half that, it's going to be angled there, and then all I had to do is sketch it out. Well, all right. So Eddie Zell wrote the book that I have to
So
contribute.
this is
That is the book.
That
this
is,
is the book, but what I want to
With
point out
duct
to the
tape on it.
readers is that he's talking about small arms of the world. I'm very familiar with this book. There are several editions.
Yes, it is.
So it's not one book called Small Arms of the World.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go looking for Small Arms of the World, you're going to find the 19th edition, the 20th edition, the 21st edition,
Mm-hmm.
and the Ronnie Barrett edition
Is 70 something.
is like caveman, the caveman edition.
Yep.
try the first page, Steve.
It's over here. This one, the 11th revised
11th
edition.
revised edition.
Holy smokes. Ronnie, you're dating yourself here.
Yep.
That's all right. That's all right.
Well, so started building. I found a machine shop. Well, it really wasn't a machine shop. It was a one-bay. Well, I don't even know if it was a one-bay garage. You probably couldn't pull a car in it, but a little area. Click the picture.
Yeah.
There we go. That's it inside that little garage. I'd go down at 5 o'clock. Bob Mitchell would get off work at Greer Stop Nut and Bolt, and he'd have dinner, and then I'd meet him in his garage, and if he'd work till 2 in the morning, I'd hang there with him, showing him, you know, well, this has got to fit inside that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm starting to learn that you can't put a 1-inch bolt down a 1-inch hole. One
Yeah.
of them has to be, you know, 3,000 smaller.
Yep.
So it was nice to have somebody like that that would work with me and take it seriously. And in 4 months, we had a shooting gun.
And you literally were not a machinist up to there. You
No.
gunsmithing background other than you enjoyed guns.
Yes.
And you had a photography background.
Yes. Well, I started in the photography studio when I was a senior in high school. I had a part-time job as a retouching artist at a studio here. And so when the job was over, you know, I just started my own studio.
Yeah.
But in that studio, which was next door to the police department, I built me a bullet trap. And I had about 100 feet down the hallway, and we could open the front door and open the back door at night to blow the smoke out. And we'd sit down there and shoot.
Now, were you shooting with the police or
Yeah,
without them knowing?
their range wasn't finished yet. So
Oh,
they'd come over and say, Ronnie, can I come over and shoot tonight? Because I need to sight this thing in. You know? So yeah, we all got along real
That's
well.
awesome. That is awesome.
It was good bunch of guys.
Good stuff.
So, you know, that's how we got the first gun going. It looked awful. Click, show you another picture of it maybe.
I'm
There
still
you go.
clicking. There it is right
Now,
there.
there we are in the front of the reception room in the photography studio. And I was so proud of that thing. It looks like something that came off a sunken Civil War ship or something like that. But it was 55 pounds, needed a little bit of diet, but you know.
Now that is the actual one that's at the factory.
Yes, it is.
Guys, I have had the honor of actually holding that gun, and I'm here to tell you, I like my 107A1 a lot better. But there's something magical about it that you had that vision and you actually put it into reality. You really did.
Well, I think the key point here, and I think everyone needs to think about this. He's 27 years old. He comes up with this idea, and as he just said, he had a working gun, a working 50 cal semi-automatic rifle in 4 months. 4 months. I mean, I've been in government meetings and weapons integrated product team meetings that 4 months were just deciding who are we going to invite to the meeting, much less build a gun in 4 months.
Yeah. He likes bashing my government a lot. Steve does this on a regular basis.
It's true.
Well,
it is.
It's true. It takes a long time to get anything out. Well, it was easier because every time you had a design change, you didn't have to go before the design review committee, and they had to look at it. But I mean, if I wanted to make a change, I just did it.
Yeah.
And if it didn't work out that well, I'd try something else. If that was too long, cut it off. But yeah, if you have to go back and get a print, get everybody signed off on it, and let the committee look at it. So a lot of the stuff is committees, that slows things down. So when you're the dictator and Lord and Master and the only single employee you have,
when you're the ultra mega king,
that's awesome.
You can do that.
That's awesome.
Well, what can I say?
Yeah.
So anyway, there it is, a little bit shorter, lighter form.
Yep.
But the first time it ever fired, click that next picture. First thing I did, because I'd never seen a 50 fire before. I'd never.
You saw it on a boat. That's right.
I saw it on the boat, but I've never seen it. So I hung it. My mother and father's house, we had this old swing set in the backyard that we used to play on. Well, the swings are long gone. So I hung the rifle upside down like that, and then I was going to pull the trigger with a lanyard. And if it took off over the horizon, I wasn't going to put that to my shoulder. I'm going to let that go.
How's that for scientific measuring of recoil?
Yeah.
If it took off over the horizon.
From a swing set.
From a swing set. So it didn't look too bad. So the next thing we did, we took it and just tied it down to the ground. So there it is, tied on the ground like Gulliver's Travels or something like that. And you'll see there's a little string around the front of the barrel.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's real tight up to the barrel because when the barrel recoiled back, I would be able to see how far the barrel went in by where the string was now. So all this scientific stuff like that.
Guys, if the guys at Picatinny and Crane are watching this, they are losing their minds right now. They're just losing their minds.
Well, it didn't look too bad, so we ended up putting it up to our shoulders that day and fired it. My older brother and I.
Day one, you actually did it. This is like some Orville and Wilbur Wright stuff going on right here. It's never been done, but literally never been done before.
Not really.
That is awesome.
Now, what's even funnier though than that is, so I started on this rifle here, the one that's on the ground, because it's a little bit lighter. Mm-hmm. It operated the same way, the recoiling barrel and the long. Well, it was a mid-stroke instead of a long recoil. It was and it wasn't a short. Midway, it recoiled about 2 inches back. So on this rifle here, we were going to take it to the Houston gun show and put it up on a table, and I hadn't finished it yet. So I had the bolt, which was just a solid brick of steel, but no machine work had been put in it. So I put a stick in behind it so you couldn't pull the bolt handle back and see that the thing isn't finished. But I went down and set that on the table, and I played the video of the first big, huge gun firing. And so everybody's just amazed to see the first gun shooting. And not a soul noticed that gun that's shooting on the video is not the gun you get on the table. And I took 3 deposits down there.
Wow.
I figured I could make the gun, ask a few people, how much do you think this thing is going to cost? And they said, you ought to be able to make that for $1,000. So I wanted to make $1,000. And I figured if I fudged up a little bit, I'd need $300 more. So I put $2,300 on the price tag and $300 deposit. I had 3 people give me deposits on that down there. So I came back and started making 30 rifles. And boy, it took a long time. It's one thing to make one rifle, but to make 30 of them all the same, it was very difficult. I didn't have any tooling. We were cutting everything from solid solid material.
Yeah, no CNC machines back then.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. We were doing everything manual, and I finally made up. By the time I had them finished, I had 30 of them. This is an ad that I ran, and to excuse why I didn't have any in stock, I said, you know what, something like the supply temporarily outstrips the inventory. You know, so it's going to be a while. You know, and I thought, well, I'll have this in a couple of months. It was about 9 months, and I got them all sold at $2,300. Later on, I found out that they cost me $8,000 to build.
Oh, shit.
Well, I had borrowed the $30,000 from the bank, a good buddy of mine that was in the business, so I had to go back to him and say, you know, this didn't work out. Well, I'm going to fix it, though. I'm going to raise it to $3,700, and I'll build another one because I know what I'm doing now. So I built another 30 and sold all of those. Those cost me $6,000. So you see, I'm getting a little closer.
Yeah.
A little bit at a time. So, you know, so that went on for about $1.5 million, which was a lot of money to a kid, you know. And
it's still a million. To me, it's $1 million is still a lot of money.
But I finally got the price right, and I got the cost right, and it started taking off. So next thing you do, had to find a place to make them. The first guns that I made, I had a little house over on Vine Street. It had a open door garage. It had a rock floor, gravel on the floor. And so a friend of mine, Harry Watson, who welded up the very first guns for me, he said, you know, if you'll buy a welder, I can come over there at night and weld these things up for you. And that way we could, you know, I was having to carry it to, I can't remember the company's name, to get them welded up, but Harry worked there. So I put a carpet upside down. It was a purple shag carpet. Put it upside down on the rock floor. Went to my dad's cabinet shop, built a table, had the city, convinced the city that if they'd give me a 220 service over there, I'd put this welder in. And, you know, so anyway, they rigged me a 220 service with a separate pole out. And so now I had the welder, built a couple of doors so I could lock it up at night. And that's where we made about the first 60-something rifles in a gravel floor garage. You know, it's just, see? So
this picture, though, this isn't the gravel floor.
The guy that was Tom Eisenman, who's still a good friend of mine, had just rented a bigger building, and he was making my bolts and bolt carriers. And he said, you know, I've got an extra room. If you want to come in, you can have a corner of it over there. So we went to his place and set up shop there, and got the phone company to run an extra extension from the studio over to there. And they said, well, that's called a second service. I said, no, I need the same number. The number needs to stay. I just need an extension line over here on the other side of town.
Yeah, wow.
And so we did. So if I was over there, we started answering the phone. Instead of Barrett Studio, we'd say Barrett. And so if it was a photography question, we'd take off on the photography.
Because the whole time you're still doing the photography stuff.
Well, yeah, you got to make a living. So you know, and if it was a gun question, we'd take off on the gun. So the 896-2938 telephone number that Barrett still has today is the photography studio's number.
Wow.
It's the same telephone number from 1982.
Well,
that
is awesome.
From 73, actually.
That is awesome.
So this is.
What do we got here?
Well, that's an employee of mine that was one of my first guys. He was formerly with the Ramo company that built the machine guns down there. So we're just putting together some guns. Click over and let's see what else we got going. That's a gun rack full of 60 guns right there. That's some of the other machine shop work, stamping the ejection port. And that was getting ready for a Christmas card. I was so proud of the gun. Went over and had, I think we had a Christmas card.
That looked like that professionally shot by a photographer in the studio.
I probably was stepping on the squeeze ball on my foot. So self-portrait there. So everything was, you know, a one-man show type thing. This was, there was a talk coming around now about the 50s. Jerry Haskins had designed his gun for the Navy, which was a little short, they call them shell holder guns. And so there was another guy, Bruce, he was from Montana. You could tell he was from Montana. Anyway, he had an old boys anti-tank rifle that he'd rechambered for 50. Now I'm out there with my semi-automatic, and so we're attracting attention. So I'd go to the NDIA. It used to be ADP. ADF? Yeah, ADP. ADP. We'd carry that out there, and 1,000 people would line up and see, what is this? Nobody had ever seen anything like this before. So the Marine Corps, Bruce Winsenson, I think is his name there, he sponsored a shoot. And so he asked everybody that had any kind of 50, and they were all handmade guns. And mine was the only one that we're making in production. And that was a laughable shoot, because when before the days of all the rangefinders, they told us what the distances were. And they allowed us to shoot a day before when we got there to see if we could zero in. But we get there the next day and it's 30 degrees colder. Well, that just blew everything.
Yeah,
you know, because
threw the zero off.
Yeah, and so this guy from Montana, he was the only one that fired and hit on the first round, but he took 30 minutes to be able to run his calculations to see what the temperature was doing for him. On mine, I had a little Marine, well, not a little, my shooter was a Marine, hired him right out of the Marine Corps. You know, and I told him, I said, well, here's what we're going to do. I had this Christmas tree type reticle on the scope. I said, I want to find something beside the target and shoot and see where it is.
Right.
And I did this several times, you know, and they said, well, you only had 10 rounds in so many seconds. I said, don't worry about it, because shooting 10 rounds and not knowing where the bullet's going is going to be a joke, you know. So that's what we did. He'd take a shot, boom,
and then
tick,
adjust, like,
you know, and well, with the little Christmas tree, you didn't adjust. You just held to that. You just held to that position, and then boom, 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 and there's a like a 1,800 meter target right there with about 10 rounds fired and about 8 rounds on the target. So it was. It just got embarrassing that I think we were the only ones to engage all the targets. Nobody else got there. So that's the kind of attention that we were starting to track.
Nice.
Carried it down to Bragg. I don't know if this is what the average Green Beret guy does, but we went up on the roof of the JFK Special Warfare Center and took a few shots aiming down. And
no joke.
Went out and fired it for the first time at 3,000 meters. And it was amazing. I'm from Tennessee, so 75 yards is a long shot.
Yeah.
You know, but so
I'd
never seen. They had a little Jeep up there as a target. Click again. Let's see if I get. Yeah, there we are. So they had the sergeant come down, and I'm trying to remember the major's name. It'll come to me in a minute. But he stayed in the business. But we were shooting at 3,000 meters, and you could get up, dust off, take binoculars, and
see it hit.
Watch it
yeah. That's time of flight's crazy.
It was surprising to all of us, because I'd never seen the rifle fire at that distance. Clicker again. There's the little shell holder gun that Jerry Haskins did.
Yep.
Now Haskins did the 338 Lapula.
338.
Yeah, and that really should be called the 338 Haskins.
Yes.
So click again. I think there we are, showing it one of these demonstrations.
The one in the center, I remember that so well, because when I was going through solding, it was the very first solding. I think it was 86, 87, the very first class they ever had. So I was coming out of Marine Corps Scout Sniper Instructor School. 2 weeks later, they said, hey, you want to go to another sniper school? I said, yeah. And they used to have Mott Lake at Bragg. Had the I don't know what it was, 2-3 weeks sniper course. I said, well, this next one, this new one is going to be 8 weeks. So I said, I'll go. And that was during the green light days.
Yep.
So I go to this class, and they put down your experience. I said, something. I just put something on there. About 6 weeks into it, I remember Sergeant McCluskey once talked to me. He goes, I went back and looked at your paperwork, and it doesn't say anything when it says, what's your experience? I said, well, I didn't know what to say. What doesn't matter. He said, yeah. He said, I'm looking at you shoot. You got something in your background. So the last day of the class before graduation, they let you do that fun shoot. Mm-hmm. So Dave Zavitz was one of the instructors, and they had a 338. They had a Haskins sitting there, and he was trying to explain to everybody. And I don't know what I was doing. I was not paying attention. And he goes, "Hey, you want to be first on this gun?" I said, "Okay, no big deal. Bring it on." They had targets out to 7, 8, 9, 1,000 meters, 1,000 meters. I said, "Yeah, I'll shoot you, gun. No big deal." I just really didn't pay attention.
This is one of the 50 cals?
No, this was the Haskins. So I get behind, the 50 cal was his third gun down.
Yes.
I get behind the Haskins. He said, "Yeah, you're going to shoot this one first." I said, "Okay." He gives me 10 rounds. I said, "Okay." I'll shoot you 10 rounds, Sergeant. You know, I get behind the Husky, get on the 800-meter target, I touch that trigger off. Next thing I knew, I was looking up at the cloud.
Recoil was bad?
Oh my God. And that is that rifle that you got in that picture. First round, he made me shoot the next 9 rounds. It kicked my ass.
I bet.
You know, back then, people didn't believe him. They didn't have muzzle brakes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't have
I can't imagine shooting M-82 without a muzzle brake.
Yeah.
All right, Ronnie, what do we got here?
Well, that's, you know, my kids come up. That's Chris Barrett.
That is Chris. Wow.
Chris Barrett without a beard and with hair. So it's we're doing a little paintballing back then. The paintball had come out. That was fun. And you know, he took the guns pretty good.
Yeah.
It's what, a 5th birthday or something like that. And he helped me out a little bit with the with anything in the shop. There's a Bren gun carrier there. So he got introduced to the machine guns and the belt feds and everything.
At 5.
On the early side. Now there's Jerry Haskins. So Jerry lived beside Sam Walton down in Arkansas, and so he had sold his rifle to Ivor Johnson.
Yeah.
Got, I think, $15 million or something like that for it. So he was living pretty good back then. And so I was down there.
15 mil?
I think it was.
80s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he showed me a cartridge. He said, "This is going to be something right here," and he gave it to me. And it had no markings on it on the back side, but it was the 338, what became the 338 Lapua.
Yeah.
But that's Jerry. He had a beautiful place down there. I've got to meet a lot of nice people. That's Gene Stoner. Yeah. We became pretty good friends. So whenever we got together, you know, it's just, you know.
Yeah, I got to meet Mr. Stoner probably 3 years before he passed away. That was one of the greatest events, and you know, for me, because you know, it was, I can't remember exactly how it happened, but at one of the shows that they had brought in Gene Stoner and Kalashnikov, because there was always that AK-47 versus M16. So they brought them together to do a talk at one of the shows.
Ed Izell did that. Ed Izell was not only did he do this book, he was the curator of American firearms for the Smithsonian. And so the Smithsonian got them together, and I think Gene went over there, they brought him over here. So yeah, click again, you'll see. I never could get Kalashnikov to look at the dang camera. He's always looking somewhere else. But so every time he was here, we'd all get together. Now these are at the AUSA, the Association of the United States Army, and it would be in Washington, D.C. That's Kalashnikov again. The first time I got to display there, it's almost like another trick with a stick behind the bolt carrier or something. You know, they were like $1,600 for a 10-foot square table, you know, and I didn't have that. And I had a couple of employees, so I got Dick Swan, our buddy. Dick Swan made a phone call to some of the night vision people. And, you know, night vision of the day were huge things. They were just big. And so I told him, I said, look, I got my car, I got the van, brought 2 of my employees, only 2 I had, and we drove up to D.C. and went to one of the hospitality suites that Dick got us into, and I was showing a brochure to one of the guys. I said, you know, I noticed your booth today. I mean, it's going to be right beside an Abrams tank. There's not going to be anybody looking at your booth, you know, because and plus, this is so big. What do you say? I bring my gun in, put it on your table, and you let me put a few brochures on the side, and then people will look at the gun and say, look, then you talk.
And that night vision doesn't look that big when it's on a Barrett.
Well, that worked. So I had the first display up there for free, you know, and I got a room at the Telegraph Road Holiday Inn, way outside of D.C. We rode the subway out there, and it had two double beds. I would put Steve in one bed, Norman in the other, and I'd sleep on the floor. So that's what you did on the early days,
I guess.
And then get on the subway ride in all the way down. Next year I had 4 rifles on the floor. Had them mounted on a tank and here, there. Next year I was able to afford a booth, and so that's some of those early booths you're seeing. It came about like that. So there's a little bit of P.T. Barnum involved in some of this stuff to get where you need to go.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, when you don't have any money.
Yeah.
And
what about this one right here?
This is it looks like early Desert Storm. Things started clicking. You remember Gus Taylor By this time, the Marine Corps had bought a rifle. The Air Force EOD had one rifle at Eglin. I don't know if y'all had one. Did you have one at the sniper school? There was just little onesie twosies around.
Yeah. Marine Corps had them.
Had one.
I was at Hoffeld Barton when they sent me a message to come back to King Khalid Military City in Saudi Arabia to meet this Major Taylor from SOC Center.
Yeah.
So we drove back. I met this Major Taylor, and he had these Pelican cases full of toys, full of toys. And out comes a Barrett 50 cal rifle. And that's, back then, the top technology for night vision were the Simrads.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Can 200s,
I hadn't heard that name in a
Can 250s.
while.
I ended up with a Barrett M-82A1 with a KN 250. 250 was a larger one,
That's
right?
the big
one. And that's where my
No, 200 is a larger
introduction,
one, but that's okay.
introduction to the Barrett. I mean, I shot it in the Marine Corps and at Sodic, but for wartime. And that was my first introduction to the 82, the KN 250, and the Raufoss rounds. That's what got my attention.
Yeah, that'd be like aliens landing, giving you something crazy because I had never even heard of Raufoss round.
Yeah.
My first time ever seeing the Barrett was also Desert Storm. I had a little sniper team with the 101st, and it was an Air Force EOD. The guy opened the box, and I was like, wow.
Well, what the Air Force was doing with it, like let's say if you
Shooting
got
duds,
you got a tank mine,
Yep.
so you got this tank mine setting here that you've uncovered it, or some other area denial submunition. Sometimes they can drop them over a runway and things like that. And little, if you get up close to them, they'll blow up.
Yeah, anti-handling devices.
Well, you'll if they're on your runway, you're not going to bring your planes back in. So they found out that if you shot them with a 50 or a 20 millimeter or a 50 cal, that you could blow them apart, and if they exploded, they'd go off on a low order and not damage the area. If you shot them with a 7.62, they'll explode.
They'll explode, yep.
And so especially if you're using the 50 multi-purpose or Raufoss round.
Yep.
Shoot it with a 20, the 20 might do more damage to your runway than the doggone submunition. So you can't. So it ended up being perfect for the semi-automatic 50 cal to do it. And then for those that, when we talk about the Raufoss round, this is a heck of a projectile.
Oh yeah.
It is a 7. Is it 7 parts or 8?
Skin.
I think it's 7 part component bullet with.
I think we need to explain.
It's they call it Raufoss from that's actually the town they're made
Raufoss,
in
Norway.
Norway, but it's listed as armor piercing incendiary. It does have incendiary and it does have the steel core, but it's also got pet and explosive mixed in there. It's a beautiful thing. It is. It's
it's amazing that they can get it to fly as good as it does with 7 components. But they do wonderful things. They set stuff on fire just marvelously.
What they'll do to a goat.
Yep.
Beautiful thing.
I remember when we were in Hoffeld Barton, and Major Taylor and his crew was there, the scientist, the mad scientist, and they said, "Hey, here's his guns, his ammo." I said, "Okay." So, I had to get a whole new data book for this gun.
Yeah.
So I said, "Hey, we start at 300, 300, walk it all the way out to 1500. We just bang it away." And he shows up to the range late on in the afternoon. Excuse me. And he goes, "So how's everything going?" I said, "It's going fine." He said, "So what do you guys think?" I said, "Yeah, we got it 0 out to 1500. We love it. We're going to next mission. We're going to take it to the next mission." I said, "But we need to get some more ammo from you." He just stood there for a while and looked at me. He goes, "What do you mean more ammo?" He said, "Man, I gave you the can." I said, "Yeah." He says, "Like the 200 rounds, we gave you 200 rounds this morning." I said, "Yeah, we shot them all up." He said, "That's all there is."
Yeah, there's.
I said, "Wait a minute."
Raufoss rounds.
All there is.
In 2003,
like
they were.
a piece.
Yeah. Now, fast forward when I was in Djibouti with them, that would have been 2002. My supply guy said they were $77 a piece. Thank you, taxpayers. I was shooting like a can a week. I didn't know. Thank you, taxpayers. All right, next picture.
I'm collecting all that.
That's some awesome stuff right there.
Well, we got the Marine Corps their purchasing was a little easier than everybody else's. If the commandant signs off on it, it's done.
Okay.
So Major Joe Kelly was going to be the major that was going to be nailed for going in front of the commandant and getting him to sign off on 200 of them that they wanted, because they'd been shooting them, they knew what they could do with them. And so Joe was scared that he wasn't going to go for the 200, so he asked for 100, and the commandant said, sure, that's fine, and signed off on it and left it. Well, then after that, you go, well, Air Force go, hey, we want that new that Marine Corps rifle. So they membered their money over that. Y'all did put your money over it. So everybody bought them through the Marine Corps. And so they made it to Desert Storm. This was 2 Jarhead Marines right here that engaged 3 BMPs. Which one was the wheel, the vehicle?
BTR.
BTR. That waited till one of the BTRs turned his back door to him and then popped 3. Holy smokes, Gus. Good gracious.
Speaking of Major Gus Taylor.
We're just talking about you, brother.
How you doing,
Holy
brother?
smokes.
Good to see you.
Oh, man.
Gus,
You give
Gus,
tingle.
Step over here. Step over here.
Oh, my goodness.
Sit in the chair.
That's right.
I know, but I want to
Just for a
get in the
second.
camera.
We'll get a cheek on each other.
Lean down.
You gotta sit on Steve's lap.
This is Major Gus Taylor.
That's it.
Major
Here
Gus
we go.
Taylor, who
Here we go.
3 months after he got there, I got a radio call from the United States said, where's Major Taylor? I was like, I have no idea. I don't own him. He's a major. We're in Kuwait City. We're on top of one of the hotels hanging out with the journalists, and we're looking out toward the bay, and the journalists ran to the other side of the building. We're up like 15, 16 stories. They're all excited, grabbing the cameras. And I look back, we're looking toward the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait, and hear all this gunfire and smoke and boom, everything going on. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, there's fast roping down. They're recaptures in the embassy. I was sitting there thinking, we were just over there yesterday taking pictures. Like, smile, we're in the embassy, and all these explosions are going on. Major Taylor.
You want to tell about the whole thing with Frank Tony?
I don't know if you want to do that.
Oh, but it involves a Barrett rifle.
They'd hightail it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
Go ahead. You got your attorney with you?
Mike, Steve, hand him the mic. That's
Sure.
clipped right there.
You had,
Steve never put his mic on,
Yeah.
which is a good thing, because nobody wants to listen to Steve anyways,
listen to
right? We don't want to listen to Steve. Just clip it to your shirt between you and Steve.
we had just gotten around to talking, and so that's unbelievable that you walk in.
I don't want to tell you he was
Clip it
coming.
down here.
Did you know it?
Down there, down lower, Steve, down lower. Right there. That way I can hear Steve rambling also.
So anyway, no, this is part of a mission that started.
Camera right there, guys.
I like looking at you, man. You know, it's pretty cool. No, I'm just kidding. This mission started actually back with Charlie Wilson's war. That's where I first.
We
met.
don't want Steve in that anyways, do we? We got rid of Steve. We finally got rid of Steve. Go ahead, sir.
To get to the embassy, it's going to take the long way around. So anyway, I met Ronnie Barrett at this thing called the Equipment Upgrade Program, I think. It was part of Charlie Wilson's war.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to know about that.
Well, it's in the
Well,
book.
just,
Okay,
just,
yes.
just real quick before we get into the story. Major Taylor, look at the camera, Major Taylor. Special Forces Commander of Charlie 37 in Panama, and all of you viewers of Tactical Rifleman, and you heard Carl talk about it a lot, about the CRE, the CRIF, the Special Forces companies that do the same thing that Delta CAG does, except they belong to the theater commander, where Delta CAG is a national force. Gus was the company commander for the CRIF, the CRE, and Charlie 37 down in Panama. The company commander in the Special Forces unit is a major. Most rest of the Army, company commander is a captain. Gus became a lieutenant colonel as the commander of Charlie 37.
Didn't want to give it up.
You can't be a major, you can't be a lieutenant colonel and a major slot company commander. And 8 months later, they're still sending messages to Panama saying, tell Lieutenant Colonel Taylor returned to the United States. So that is his background.
So that's also how I wrecked my career. I kind of had a trifecta because I had already commanded Charlie 37 as a real senior captain, like back in '84 to '85 when we started the missions in Colombia with the reaction forces in Colombia and put them all together. So I was already spoiled rotten, and I kind of got a choice between being a general's aide and cutting my mustache off or being Charlie Company commander again, right? So, well, that took a couple seconds to figure that one out, but it did wreck my career because I pissed off every major at Fort Bragg and several colonels and stuff too. But anyway, I had a 3-year tour down there, and like Steve said, I turned lieutenant colonel, in that job. But we're jumping around here. This is after the embassy. I walked in during the embassy story, which is itself is a pretty good story. It involves a Barrett. So like I said, this started back when I first met Ronnie at the equipment upgrade program. And
this was before Desert Storm.
we were putting big ass, like 40 millimeter red dot sights, I think, on your, you had your regular Barretts and then your over the shoulder one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
right.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
That definitely was the Charlie
that's
Wilson stuff.
Yeah, that's probably the first time I met you. And
I can't imagine a Barrett with a red dot on it.
It was to shoot down the Hind helicopter.
yeah, it was the
But
shoot
the over
down.
the shoulder
Yeah.
one, it didn't have a regular stock.
Yeah.
It went over your shoulder.
It was a bullpup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so you pointed it up, and all you had to do is,
Just start cranking
the
away.
Hind,
Yeah.
the Hind had to come
Hind
to
D, yeah.
had to come to a stop before it could fire. It couldn't fire on the run or something like that.
Yeah.
And what they were doing is putting a guy in a valley with some boxes, and when a helicopter would come by, he'd start trying to cover the boxes up, waving, making a big attention. Well, so he made himself look like a target, and then when the thing came to a stop, these other guys on the mountainsides would shoot him with 50 cals on each side. They wanted to be able to shoot up on the run with
Yeah.
the thing. So, boy,
Against the Hind D.
against the Hind.
Yeah.
But like I said, those were interesting days on that, and held that quiet. Well, anyway, go ahead.
No, we're here to tell stories, right? That's what it's about, right? War stories and stuff.
Yes.
Well,
Before we
after-
all croak off.
Ronnie Barrett war stories. Ronnie Barrett guns.
Ronnie Barrett.
Well,
war
I
stories.
remember we were talking just a minute ago about how the Marine Corps got the gun, and I'd just come down to your office down there, and you said, believe me, if the shit hits the fan, I know what to do. But because then we'll get money, and we'll be able to purchase some rifles. But
Yeah.
as it sits right now, there's no funding, there's nothing. We have to have the emergency stuff, and it all happened, and so it was. Everybody got
Perfect
to pick up on.
timing.
Oh, it was perfect. Everybody worked well together.
Yeah, we did like in 2 weeks what we now can't do in 2.5 years. We got like from the time we got the green light to bring these in. So to get to the whole mission though, our mission was to bring in, I believe, like 8 sets of high-speed gear into the first Gulf War, and distribute it around to SEAL platoons and teams. And so part of the kit included Barrett 50 calibers, and not with red dots. Those things had nice,
They had that.
nice glass on them.
They had loopholes.
Yeah, Leopold. So anyway,
Aren't
Yeah,
forwards.
we had the.
Steve was talking about the KN night sights on them.
yeah,
The Simrad.
yeah. So anyway, we had these pickup trucks, kind of sexy pink pickup trucks that we got from the guys up at King Khalid Military City, and we were delivering these things around, and I got a whole team, a joint team of special ops guys, kind of like a mobile training team, like an MTT, and it's kind of last minute, like, hey, you want this stuff? Like, usually like, hell yeah, look at that shit's cool, And so among that stuff was Barrett sniper rifles, right?
Wow.
And there was some other stuff in there, like, and this will be important in the later part of the story. It's called pyronol torches, and they're pretty cool. You put them in an M79 grenade launcher in the front end of them, and you shoot them against these bars, and they cut the bar, right?
Okay.
Oh, man.
Like when they rescued
Cool.
Muse down in Panama,
Yeah,
they used them
yeah.
all that. So cutting your way in through bars and stuff is what these things are for. So anyway, and we had some other stuff probably still classified in there, but we had also platter charges and some pretty mundane stuff like 300 Winchester Magnums.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
We and I were out on that
Miller.
berm. Yeah.
I remember.
And we had some very quiet handguns, which I still am not sure. Yeah, anyway, had all this cool stuff and very quickly turning it over to the deployed forces, SEALs, and especially Special Forces. And so I loved Ronnie's semi-automatic sniper rifle. I was a sniper. I went to the old U.S. Army sniper instructor school, like in 1980 and stuff. And I just loved big caliber weapons, but the SEALs at the time, and still are,
Want some more water?
Okay, what's up?
were fascinated with single shot 50 calibers. Why? Because, they're more accurate. It's like, well, the damn ammo isn't accurate enough to really take advantage of that at that point in time, right? We're in the middle of the first Gulf War. So, and one thing I noticed about wars, they get to be like Groundhog Day. Although they're all different, there's a lot of certain common things. And one of the common things is if you're in the middle of a war, you get a chance to carry a big ass gun instead of your little pimp ass gun. You go get the big ass gun, right? So, and the same with the SEALs at Ras Al Ghar. We pulled in there, and all their snipers are like, they got these one shot, single shot bolt action guns.
Yeah, you put the round on the face of the bolt.
Because almost all of them have been bad mouthing Ronnie's gun because it's semi-automatic. It's got a floating barrel and it's still real accurate, but that can't be right. It can't be right if it's got a floating barrel. It can't be good, right? So, but we got the Ras Al Ghar. They're like, can we have some of them? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we unloaded a bunch of these Barretts on the SEALs, and they like stacked arms with their single shot 50s.
Well, they had, They had, it was so slow. I mean, he'd pull the bolt out, put it around in it, put it back in there, hope it doesn't go off before you get it back in there. Because now you got a round in a cocked bolt with it right up against the fire pit. Put it in there and then close it back down. Boom, back off. And the target, you could measure a paper target, go out there with your tape measure, but that target's not going to be sitting still on the battlefield. It's going to be moving after the first shot. So you better be able to bang, 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 bang as that jet is coming in or taking off or whatever. And that's where our gun came in, is that you can put a lot of rounds on the target in a short amount of time. Yeah,
and you can shoot down a brick wall with the damn thing, right? And shoot
Fast forward to 2002, all those SEALs that you had won over, they were gone, and I had SEALs in Horn of Africa, same thing. They're like, our bolt actions are awesome. And we're like, we put our Barretts out there with Raufoss rounds. We're like a Bedouin pickup truck running across the desert. You can't estimate range fast enough for your bolt action. We just started hammering them with 10-round groups. And we're setting the car hulks on fire out on the range, and finally the SEALs all kind of hung their heads down and went and pulled their Barretts out of the closet.
I had a guy, I can't remember which branch, call. He said, we're looking into a problem. I said, well, what is it? He said, well, we sent a bunch of these Navy rifles over during the war, and none of them hardly came back. He said, do you know anything? I said, I think I know what it's like when you give a soldier a piece of equipment he can't use. I said, imagine he flung it out there, and he said, well, they couldn't request one of the Barrett rifles until that one was out of commission. I said, I think you've answered your question. I said, they're buried in the sand somewhere out there. And,
we lost it overboard.
Right.
We hit a wave. We hit a wave and lost it.
Well, that picture that we were looking at a minute ago was two Marines that fired on the little. Well, we moved on here.
I can go back.
No, click forward. No, that's all right. Nope, you're going the wrong way.
The wrong way. All right.
There you go. So that was some of the Desert Storm stuff when everybody got their guns over there. That was a little close call. I was I had 100 guns going to the Marine Corps. And I had them ready to go, and like in December. It was the Marines were going to order it in December, and Kelly, Major Kelly, remember?
Yeah, Major Kelly.
Major Kelly wasn't exactly sure how it was going to go and everything. So, but I'm all set, ready to go. And England calls, the UK calls, and said, "We need 100 of those rifles." I said, "Well, I'm holding some for the Marine Corps." I said, "How do you know they're ever going to come across? I've got the money. I'm ready to buy. Well, I'm Irish, so I sold it to them." And
I thought you were going to say I'm Irish, so I didn't sell it.
No, you take the money.
That's okay. Yeah.
So I took the money, and then no sooner than we did that, Kelly comes up and said, "Okay, I got the order." And I go, "Oh man!" So we started at 5 in the morning, and would work till 11 o'clock at night, everybody, and I only had like 12 guys at the time, and so 5 in the morning, 11 o'clock at night, go home, get to bed, get back there at 5. And by January 10th, those rifles had to be in Riyadh. By January 10th, we made it.
Wow.
It had 100 rifles on the ground. Then we got, a little extra time to be able to, get the Air Force and the Special Forces guys and everything. So it was, we were busting butt, but we were there. So that's some of the guns. Several countries picked up on it. The rifle's been adopted by 75 different governments. That's Norway. I tell you what, when you go to the Arctic Circle to train, that's, they were always telling me, have you ever been in cold weather like that? He said, you really have to experience it, to understand what problems we have over here. But, when you're sitting there peeing and it actually freezes right on up to you, something like that, that's really cold.
I've never been that cold. I've been cold, Ronnie.
It's cold.
I've never been that cold.
But, you open the case, and if there's any snow blowing, it blows into the case. So then you close the case up. You go put the rifle away that night, or you close it for a minute. When you go to open it, it's all frozen. How do you fix that?
Yeah.
So so the rifle has done real good. I learned what it does in Hawaii. You go up in the mountains at Fort. What's the Army base up there? And
all my time in Hawaii was in a Hawaiian shirt and.
I can't remember.
Surfing.
But it's like soaking wet jungle stuff.
Yeah.
And you sit there and watch rust crawling out of little cracks and crevices of the rifles laying in your hand, and it's rusting right there in front of you.
That's why God made spray paint.
Well,
though, right?
you paint it, but from the jungles of Malaysia to the Arctic cold to everything required a little bit more attention, and that's what matured it into the rifle that it's been doing today. Click another one to see. Yeah, that's everything cleared. Yeah, that's some beautiful shots. Some of the U.S. guys, and even some of the well-dressed airline pilots now have.
All right, so what's the story behind the well-dressed airline pilot?
Somebody sent me that, so I had to use it somewhere. This was really catching on. Ted Nugent with a bunch of guns.
Ted Nugent, good
Yeah, I got
people.
to meet a lot of nice folks. My son and daughter came to work for me when they, just like I went to work at my dad's cabinet shop when I was through school. If they were out of school, not doing anything, they had to be at the firearms company. So that's Chris with no beard. So
that's SHOT Show,
that's
isn't it?
Chris Barrett. It's a SHOT Show. Yeah. Some of our booth spaces. Yeah. So Angela went to work for a wonderful church, World Outreach Church here in Murfreesboro.
Awesome
Big.
stuff.
I can't even see that picture.
Well,
what is
let me
that?
turn it around for you, Ronnie.
That's not supposed to be in there. Well, click another one. See.
First what?
That's just a SHOT Show somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's his ex-wife right there.
This contract signing, after all this, so the Marine Corps bought through the Commandant, but the big Army had to go through an entire new test.
Yeah.
They said it has to go through competition, and so they said everybody's going to have to turn their rifles in. Well, a lot of the Army guys didn't really turn their rifles in. They kind of held on to them.
Yeah.
So that's why you'll see a little blend of M107s or 82s in the service, is because this is an original 82 that was bought back for Desert Storm. So we go through this big, huge test, and we have a little rifle called the Model 95. It's a bolt action rifle, but it's a repeater. The Army selected that. I was furious. I said, you got to have the speed, and so U.S. SOCOM comes up, changes the document, and increases the amount of rounds per minute or something that to put on the target, because we all understood that, again, if you're sitting here watching a moving target, you're not going to be able to go boom, boom. And so SOCOM, y'all changed it to require the semi-automatic feature, which then fell back to
Big
the
Army.
82.
Yep.
Well, this
This is the contract signing of the big Army.
But what you brought up there has been a fundamental disconnect in our sniper community forever, going back to the Vietnam War. Because at the end of the Vietnam War, Mr. White, the range controller, Mr. White invented the M2 Leopold reticle. And what the M2 did is it recognized the fact that when you're so damn scared you can squeeze blood out of your pistol grip and you got malaria, and you're hungry and all that shit, dial prayer don't work. Figured out mill relation formulas. It's like shit, you can barely, keep your mouth shut and your eyes open. So what we went to is semi-automatic. We had the M21, right?
That's what I grew up on,
So the M21 had the art scope on it, but if you're really lucky, you got a Leopold M2 with the M2 reticle in it. And that thing was not a one shot, one kill scope, okay? Like 2 shots, 1 kill, that's a pretty good day, you know? It's like,
yeah.
and and our typical sniper shot in El Salvador, this is what the El Salvadorans taught me, is like, you know, when you're starved half to death and, you know, you're so hungry, your teeth are loose and all that shit, the mill relation formula, shooting across Strange Canyon, that don't work. It's like, almost like we did with the 57 recoilless in the Korean War. Take a marker shot, right? Take a marker shot and then whack the guy with your 2nd or 3rd shot. And so, and our sniper community in the United States was like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And they called it the Indage reticle because even the Indage could use that reticle. That's like, yeah. And so this fundamental argument in the sniper community, I don't know if it's resolved yet, you know, where and there's a place for the precision shots. There's absolute place for the precision shots, but when the shit's howling and cracking and stuff's flying over your head that looks like flying squirrels and stuff going 1,000 miles an hour, the semi-automatic Barrett was the one that could, you know, really respond right to the heavy volumes of firepower coming after you. So I'll finish up my embassy story later after we talk about other stuff, because that involves a Barrett too.
I want to let Ronnie finish it, because I only have him for a limited amount of time. So let's finish this history lesson.
No, let's finish it.
I'm digging it. All right, so big contract, another contract picture.
Well, that's the M107 contract signing.
Nice.
That we finally got that done, and that's Bob Galeazzi there, and a soldier that brought in a little G.I. Joe doll. G.I. Joe made a Barrett knockoff, and I called him up. I said, hey, you got my gun and using my name in one of your G.I. Joe things. He said, yeah, well, it's a toy. I said, I'm going to send you a patent number. I want you to look at it. So I said, you call me back when you want to, you know. And they called back in about 5 minutes. Says, you filed patents under toys. I said, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Toys, squirt guns, and everything. Well, why'd you do that? I said, because y'all knocked off my friend's Gene Stoner's rifle and everything, didn't pay him a dime. I said, that's not going to happen with me, you know. And so he said, well, you know, we don't make very much money on these. I said, but you sell millions of them. And so they were nice. We reached an arrangement. And so, you file under T-shirts, toys, lampshades, wallpaper, anything, you know.
Really?
You know, because you come in and find a video game, you know, a pinball game, and there's your rifle on the front and then your name on there, and you go, well, if my name and my rifle design was worth something, you should pay me for it.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can copyright those things too.
They are.
They're copyrighted?
Yeah, we can copyright even the image of them, what they look like from the top, the front, the top side. So, you know, you do all that stuff on it. There's one of the stickers that came out of, I think, the Second War, that we had a lot of bad names named for the Barrett rifle that the enemy didn't like.
Oh, yeah.
So this one is this face mecha, you know, or something like that. That's more stuff from the storm. Some of our guys carrying it in Afghanistan here. Afghanistan. I mean, great stories.
Yeah, these.
Now look at this. There's Vanden Bosch.
Old Vanden Bosch.
He's sitting right there.
The guy in the picture. Come on, come stick your melon in here. Come on. We don't want you talking. Stick your melon in here. Guys, that's a young Vanden Bosch right there, man.
You're off the camera.
No, he's in there.
He's
in the middle.
In there.
Yeah, you can still sit right there.
Come on back.
Come back in here.
Right.
We'll click the next one is a cute one too. I think
John's he's still secret squirrel. He don't want to be on the boy hunts off of like luxury cruisers.
Now that's some sort of armored vehicle there that the Barrett rifle is on.
Yeah.
There's another one in here of you, John, in a Titan pickup truck. That's a neat story there. Back up one.
I'm backing up.
There's Vanden Bosch in the pickup truck. That's a Marine that wrote to me. Mark Terrell.
Okay.
He says, my name is Mark Terrell. I'm a Marsoc Marine assigned to 2nd Marine Special Operations Battalion. On December 29th, 2009, my team was engaged with Taliban fighters for the second straight day in northwestern Afghanistan. During a firefight, I was getting ready to engage an enemy fighter when my 107 was struck from a machine gun fire from a PKM 7.62. When the round stuck in the side of the rifle, it knocked me off the gun, sending a piece of the bullet jacket into my neck. The injury suffered to me was nowhere as bad as the one my rifle received. The round that stuck in the magazine well Above the round was a tracer, which stuck in the side of the rifle and caught the gun on fire. So if you look at that up close, you'll see there's a hole, a bullet hole through the magazine. Well, they'll put the thing in there. Okay, so the fire caused one of the Mark 22 Raufoss rounds to cook off in the magazine.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, yeah. It's getting bad to worse now. After the fighting slowed down, I pried the round out of the side of the rifle and removed the magazine. I took the rifle apart, gave it a good cleaning. When I put the gun back together, I was amazed to find out that the gun still worked. I was not able to insert the magazine into the gun due to the damage of the magazine well, so I operated the gun single shot fire for the next 2 days. The impact of the round had no effect on the gun's accuracy. I just wanted to tell you guys that you continue to make an awesome product. And this is the kind of thing I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen it myself. Thanks for such a great product.
That's awesome.
So,
That's awesome.
that was nice. So
it's good to get stories like
yes,
that.
Yes, it is. So I wrote him back. He didn't expect a return. I said, "Dear Mark, I got your email with a photo. It's worth 1,000 words. Thank God for your safety in battle, a very good condition to have. In 1983, I was working on my second prototype rifle. During testing, it fired unlocked, blowing it all to pieces. I was doing the firing myself, and my assistant caught it all on video for me to relive over and over. I went back to the drawing board and changed the steel material and the well points to make the rifle tough enough to contain any explosion like that again. Now, with your experience, we both know how tough the rifle is. I've worked all my life to build the best rifle for times like these, for Marines and soldiers like you. Thanks for your rewarding report and the 1,000 words spoken in the picture. It's the measurement of my work. It's also the measurement of your equipment, secured for you years ago by dedicated Marines that tested it in every environment so that you would have confidence when you fight. I can see in your eyes your undiscouraged continuance to fight with what you have and where you are. It's the measurement of the man you are and the Marines that trained you. All of this shines through in you in service of our great republic. Please destroy our enemy and return home safely. Forever grateful, Ronnie Barrett." So,
amen to that, right? I mean, what do you say to that? Can you imagine this this MARSOC guy getting this email from Ronnie? Dude, sincerely, thank you for the.
There's a third letter on it, but we were spent too much time reading. But that's the first time I've been able to read that through without kind of breaking up a little
No,
bit.
dude, you got me getting all misty just watching you get misty.
It's touching.
No, there's not a lot of stuff that you knew overseas that could hold up. And no matter, like we did seesaw missions, running the ATVs, and I always have my Barrett on a bag, literally right next to my leg while I'm riding the ATV. Getting off the helicopters, we had to go do a security package for Donald Rumsfeld. I'm carrying my Barrett onto the helicopter. Babysitting Tommy Franks when he first went into Iraq during the initial invasion of Iraq. Same thing, onto the ramp of the MH-53, SR-25 slung on my front. I carried my Barrett 50 because if that helicopter went down, and you can only carry so much stuff, you need extra love in a gunfight. You're not getting it from grenades and M203s. That extra love in the desert, that extra love is a Barrett. And no, it never let me down, never let my unit down. And all right, we are gonna, you ready to move on?
Yeah.
Or, let's do it. One more picture here.
It's Vanden Bosch. Go give me another one.
And we're done with Vanden Bosch.
I was going to show you a guy. Click on through right.
All right.
Yeah, just some other shots, because there's one good story in here. This guy right there, he holds the Army's long distance. At the time, it's like 1.75 miles, or something like that. And
with a Barrett.
With a Barrett rifle. So he came to see us.
1.75 miles, your shot group is like 12 feet across.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful 12 feet.
Well, he said, he said, I didn't have nothing to do all day, and he said I'd sit up there at nighttime or in the daytime, and there was this big rock. I was watching the path that went around and cut off into Pakistan. Yeah. And so with nothing to do, I shot this big ass rock. I mean, it's like a 20-foot rock, a big thing. And then I'm shooting it with the Raufoss multi-purpose rounds, and so it splat black.
You could see right where it's at.
You could see right where it is. And so here's this rock with all these splats on it. And he said, I'd shoot this thing at 2 in the morning and 3 and whatever temperature, what the barometric pressure is. Had all my dope written down.
He had data on this.
Yep. Ooh. And so he said, he come woke me up one morning, or one night about 8 o'clock. He said, hey man, there's some guys out here. Come get them. And there's 3 bad guys. And so he said, I go out there and I get settled down, and they're standing in front of my rock. You know, and he said, watch this. You know, turn that in, and pow, he boom, boom. So he shot the first guy. Second guy, the first guy stepped aside a little bit because the bullet flight time, a few seconds long.
Time of flight.
And by the time one splatted on the rock, the other one landed right in the center chest of the other guy. So he was holding.
Wow.
He's neat.
That's awesome. Awesome indeed.
Well, I got the George Chin Award one year. That was awarded to the civilian that contributed the most to something or another. I had to read all that, but it was named after Colonel George Chin, who wrote the 5 volumes of the machine gun. I will say that same year, Holland got the Hathcock Award, which is given the counterpart of the military. person.
You two were quite the pair at SHOT Show that year. You really were.
Yeah.
Best of show.
Then in 2004, the Army had an award, the top 10 greatest inventions. And so for the very first time, a rifle showed up on it, and our rifle was awarded in special ceremonies. I said, are y'all here for something else? He said, no, this is it, man. We all flew in for this.
For you.
Yeah, and so it was one of the top 10 greatest inventions for the U.S. Army, so I was very pleased at that.
Wow, that is awesome. That is awesome.
Done other shows like this. And you can bust through those if you want to.
Busting through them.
Gordon Liddy, 60 Minutes. You know, I've had all sorts of different things that we've done. My buddy Lou Ferrigno, that's my most favorite picture of me and Lou Ferrigno at one of the SHOT shows.
You don't realize how big that boy is.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Angela and I, some of these are just goof shots off the rest of it. That's our building here in Murfreesboro.
Yep. There's some beautiful shots here.
Oh, yeah.
You want me to go back?
Back up.
I'm backing up. That one or the one before?
Go back. Let's see, come back forward.
All right, I'm working on it. That one or the next one?
Next one. That's in Panama.
That's Panama. You want to hear that story?
Yeah, that's pretty damn
This
good.
is a damn good Ronnie Barrett story. So anyway, Ronnie and Dick Swan and Bill Groove all flew down to Panama when I was commanding Charlie 37. So
we got a letter. It looked like it was ordering us down there.
well, he gave you what's called invitational travel orders.
Yeah.
I could pull all kind of shit.
And so I'm sitting there going, Dick Swan calls me, he said, I just got ordered to Panama. I'm a civilian. I can't do that. And so Swan says, I think Gus is in charge of that down there. So it's Gus, let's go. So off we go.
You got military orders as civilians to go to that.
Okay.
He could get
those are still around.
He was running the show.
But back then, you know, when you're Charlie 37 commander, you can about do anything.
Yeah, you do pretty well anything
Yeah,
you
you
want.
know, but anyway, we got Ronnie and these other 2 guys down there, and we had quite a few adventures, right? But one of them we had is we're going to put them in a shoot house, right? And they're going to be, back then you could have live hostages.
Yeah.
And guys with live ammo shooting right next to them and throwing stun grenades, all that stuff. So anyway.
They put you in the chair in the middle of the room?
He was in the chair. Ronnie's in the chair, right? So I can't remember where the other 2 guys are. So back then we didn't have, the Ensign Bickford stun grenades and all that stuff. We had these homemade grenade simulators with a smoke grenade fuse in it.
Oh, yeah.
We'd thrown thousands of those damn things and nobody got hurt, right? We chucked one at Ronnie, you know. When our guys came in, they took the room down, shooting live ammo into these silhouettes and all that stuff. And
I'm sitting here with a helmet on,
he's got a helmet, bulletproof vest.
They said, just don't move from this seat, you know. Well, the door swung open, it had a little screen door hinge on it, and he threw the grenade in, and the door hit the grenade, and the grenade landed in my lap. So here's the thing, and as I'm sitting there, as soon as it hit in my lap, I go, bam, and it blows up, you know, and
you got a chunk of fuse in your leg.
yeah, the fuse went in the leg. And so I'm trying
Way
to
to
act
impress
cool.
the VIPs, you know.
I'm trying to act cool. I got these white tennis shoes on here. Well, the blood was filling up in my tennis shoe, and then after a while, the blood started pouring out over the top of the tennis shoe. And Gus is sitting there going, "Who's bleeding?" Well, it was me. Swan had a piece of wood stuck through his arm, some splintered. He said, "Oh, you think that's bad? Look at this." You know. So So Swan didn't have any skin on him anyway. And
wondering why when I got to a SIF company, we weren't allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah, well, we fixed that for you guys.
Yeah,
we
appreciate that.
No, in those days, you didn't have much trouble doing
No,
that.
I guess.
Really. And Ronnie thought it was all part of the play. He thought, because the medics are, 18 deltas are all over him and shit like that. So didn't you think it was kind of part of the game?
I was a little nervous because the Charlie Wilson's thing was still kind of
right. Yeah,
and and so you don't ever know what's going on.
We got to get rid of these witnesses, right?
Yeah, and when you said that we're going in the house, I thought, is this the end of me? I mean, at first I'm out of the country. Now I'm down here.
We got to get rid of them.
I haven't opened my mouth on anything. I have not told anybody anything. And so then when this thing falls right in my lap, I thought that's what it was. I thought Gus was my friend.
That's awesome.
We're taking him
That
out.
is awesome. Charlie Wilson's War. We're going to remove Ronnie Barrett before he runs this suck.
Thank goodness the book came out because now everybody knows it. And everybody can
now
talk.
we can talk.
You can talk about it.
Not all of it, but
No, I don't know nothing. Really.
That's like Steve with
don't need no
Project
grenades in my
Greenlight.
hat.
Steve's still like, Carl, we're not talking about that. I'm like, all right, Steve, I my time. All right, we're still moving?
Yeah,
More
I don't know.
pictures?
I don't know what all these things are. Oh man. Yeah,
Oh,
keep
for
on
God's
going on. That's over. Yeah, you recognize him.
yeah.
Rob Roy from Colt. Rob Roy, Dick Swan. There's a lot in here that I didn't know was in here. Yeah.
We can cut them right now if you want.
Oh, they're fun to look at. But, all right, let's go. Let's cut them.
All right, we're cutting
In a
it.
minute, I think you're in there somewhere. in front of Panama there. Oh my goodness. Those were the
Funny
days.
stuff.
And that's what was so fun about all of this in the early days is that you got to do some stuff. You were on your own with it. You could be as creative as you wanted to be. And gosh, it seems like just we're regulated to death now, with everything. And we'd never been able to accomplish bringing a gun from creation to completion, and getting it at the field, if it hadn't been for people that knew how to make it happen instead of offering all these, well, what if this goes wrong or what if that happens, and regulated down and your hands tied, and it was, and maybe everybody thinks that their day was the best day, but it sure was good. It was real fun.
Steve and
experience.
Ronnie, they sent this before you came on, man. You got to pretend you're Steve for me.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for everything you've done for the American military. Carl, could you wish my son, Brad, a happy 17th birthday? Rangers lead the way. Lethal Blanc, and your son, Brad, I hope he's still there. Happy 17th birthday. I would love for you to be a Ranger legacy and following your dad's footsteps. Tommy Two Guns said, thank you for the TR team for great training last week. Guys, I want questions for Ronnie. You understand, I'm probably not going to get him back for a while.
Well, let me tell you now, don't be fooled here. When people say, thank you, Ronnie, and this, that, and the other, I barely got through high school. D's and F's and things like that, and
It sounded a lot like my story.
and so I'm not a clever engineer and things like that. And I first thought I was. I thought, man, look what I did in 2 months, and look what I did in 4 months, or something like that.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, when God wants something done, He's going to pick the most unlikely person to get it done. That way,
Without
you
a
know
doubt.
it was God.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm not. Don't give me any of the glory. He wanted a rifle done for the times. We were coming out of Vietnam. We were going into long range stuff. It was the right thing at the time, and he used us. He used all of us to get it done.
Without a doubt.
That's what it is. So I never missed the opportunity to straighten out who's really, I'd love to take credit for all this, but it's him. That's why
Ronnie's got a great
That's why
team.
he
He
put me
really
with a
does.
bunch of good people, and we all got this done, and it got the rifle in the hands of the troops, and it wasn't going to happen any other way.
Awesome stuff indeed. Guys, Ronnie, I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate it. He rolls up in this beautiful Bentley, and it's awesome. It is. You understand, this is a big deal for me because this is like one of my, you understand, Chuck Norris shook my hand and said, "Carl, you're awesome," right, at the NRA show. But for me, it's just an awesome opportunity for me to have Ronnie here and have you share your story for us. 40 years of a great gun.
Yes.
Well,
you know,
wow.
What's more amazing than that, it's a Rolls, by the way. But
oh, you're right, it is. I stand corrected. I apologize. I just bashed your Rolls Royce. I just bashed it. I'm sorry.
You know, what's even more amazing than all of this is for a company to get 2 contracts. You know, I mean, it's real rare. If you get one, that's an amazing thing. But
MRAD.
I was the 4th guy in the last 100 years to have his rifle design adopted by the U.S. government. You had John Browning, John Garand, Gene Stoner, and Ronnie Barrett.
Yep.
Well, all the services are adopting a new gun now.
Chris Barrett's
Barrett's the Mark 22, the MRAD. Amazing that the first time in American history, a father then a son have both had their designs adopted by the U.S. government. It'll never happen again. You'll never end up. So Chris Barrett becomes the 5th man in the last 100 years to have his rifle design.
Maybe a grandson with the new laser rifle.
It may be.
Maybe.
Phaser.
Something.
We get the dilithium crystals. We'll have phasers out here. Set to stun.
Guys, if you want to see more about the MRAD, I actually I've done videos with the Barrett MRAD. I borrowed a couple from them. I actually bought 2 M107A1s from you, but. They allowed me to film their MRAD, but then I also got to take your MRAD on Gunny Time.
Did you?
And I did 2 episodes there. I did the AK-74, but they're like, hey, we want you to do the SVD. I'm like, why are you doing the SVD? You know, like Barrett just won the ASR contract, man. The MRAD, this is what they're like. You could pull that off. You know somebody at Barrett? I'm like, I might know somebody there. I might know somebody at Barrett. So yeah, hands down, and I loved my Accuracy International AXMC, and I wanted to say mine was more accurate. Not that thing is.
That is the most accurate
gun I've ever shot in my life,
yes,
without a doubt, hands
is.
Down, most accurate gun.
It took a lot of money to get it there,
but well invested. No, you look at it. The lines are so clean. It's not all cut up like modern precision rifles. Yeah. They're all this thing it's a beautiful gun.
Well, Chris said, Dad, this is what all tactical rifles are going to look like just as soon as we introduce this one.
Oh, I bet.
And, but you know, it was given good groups, and he said, no, they all got to go in the same hole. I said, Chris, I don't think the ammunition can do it. No, it's going to have to do it, because if we're going to have first round man-size hits at 1,500 meters, they're going to all have to be in the same hole. And so it was more months, another 6 months, and more money, and dang it if he didn't do it.
Yep.
It was a lot of tweaking. It was fun to watch it happen.
If you had a chance to play with it, it's 308, so we can still train, and subsonic stuff like that. But then it also has the 300 Norma, which is your 1 mile round, and then it has the 338 Norma, same casing, heavier projectile. You can get through your commercial airline cockpit windows. You can get through all your barrier penetration stuff, and it's a total joy. It really is. It's on my list. I just gotta
mark it down that I didn't tell what the gun will shoot through. Well, you're gonna be in trouble in the morning.
I don't care.
You're talking military customers, and of course, we're not telling anybody to go shooting through anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
No, that's right. That's fair. What do I know? I'm just I'm a fag. I'm a former action guy. So can I say that on the internet? Ronnie,
well, if your mouth doesn't, no.
Good stuff.
Well, thanks for having me on, and everybody needs to remember the NRA National Meet, which we hadn't had one in a few years.
Yeah, I will be there.
We'll be at Houston.
Yep, I will be there.
What month? In the next few weeks or something?
Yeah, it is the day before Memorial Day. Memorial Day is obviously on a Monday. It is the Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Houston. So for guys, you don't have to be a member of the NRA to go. You literally can sign up at the door. Life member, I will be there, and I'm assuming Barrett has a booth there.
Former President Trump will be speaking there again this year. I've been a member of the board of directors since 2008 or 2009 or something like that. I'm a trustee of the NRA Foundation. So I tell you, those are a good bunch of guys that's up there, that's running the association, that's doing all the hard work, and we're all going to get together, like-minded people in Houston.
Come stop by, come visit. You guys know I'm very impressionable, I guess. I listen to what people say, but I'm also very approachable. So if you see me there, stop by, say hi, and we will visit. NRA show is going to be awesome. I roll straight from the NRA show into my precision rifle class, Tactical Precision Rifle 101. Tiger Valley, it's just east of Waco, 2-day course. I think I got 2 slots left for that. You can sign up at tacticalrifleman.com. I wish I had a Barrett for that class. Well, maybe MRAD in my future, more videos come in, wink, wink. I'll talk to your son Chris about it. I'll see if I can get see if you guys can cut me a break on one, maybe free shipping or something. I don't know if I come and pick it up. Maybe if I come and pick it up. But been a pleasure indeed,
Thank
sir.
you so much.
And I look forward to having Chris on next time so we can go more in depth on the MRAD, and the future of extremely long-range shooting is going to be Barrett.
Yeah.
It really is. That's the future right there, guys, without a doubt.
Now,
Ronnie, thank you so much.
Before you walk off,
Yes?
John, come over here. Because first thing I learned about Karl's live stream, for all the tactical riflemen fan, Tactical Tuesday.
Good to see you again, brother.
My first Tactical Tuesday was up in Vermont. We were running a training course up there, and he said, Steve, you got to be on Tactical Tuesday, Tactical Tuesday. So I went on Tactical Tuesday. I'm not social media.
Oh, we know. We know.
So when they said live stream, I said, okay, it's a live stream. You know, I'm not going to worry about it because once the live is over, it's gone.
So not true.
So not true. So not true. So that's where we get the thing about, hey, make Steve make the minigun sound.
But, Steve, what does a minigun sound like in Solder City when I'm burning through?
So whenever you guys have heard all the recent live streams that I've joined Karl on, you always hear me talk about John Vanden Bosch.
Yes,
and we always say, John.
That's the guy we're talking about.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Tactical Rifleman, Tactical Tuesday world, meet John Vanden Bosch.
Another great American.
John.
I think, thank you,
John
Steve.
was a member of the 101st Airborne. When I started the sniper school at Fort Campbell, it was 5th group funded, 5th group ran. Well, of course, the teams are deployed, so we get a lot of, hey, 101st
He just won't let you get out of here, will he?
No, stay here. 101st got snipers. We were running 24 guys to a class. Sometimes I might get 18 members. So I open it up to the 101st. From the 101st, I don't know, 34th class, I meet Sergeant Vanden Bosch. John.
Little did you know.
Little did I know. So John decides he wants to be a Green Beret. He's going Special Forces training. I said, okay, we supported him. We always support everybody.
Of course. Yeah.
So John went through the Q course. After the Q course, he went to language school, which is 11 months, 12 months?
For me.
So it's a 6-month course. How long were you there?
I was there for Arabic. I was there for Arabic refresher. Then they decided to finish me up in French.
They decided
because he couldn't learn Arabic.
He's saying they. I'm gonna tell you what. The 5th Group Commander Colonel Mulholland taught me about saying they when you're briefing him. I said, sir, the next slide shows where we are on this right here, blah 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 blah. And they said, he goes, Steve, stop. Who's they?
Yeah.
Well, I said, oh, sir, I'm sorry. The program manager of the SOPMOD program, Epic Crane, Gus Taylor, said blah, blah, blah. Next slide. And he said, sir, the following slide shows blah, blah, blah. They said, he goes, Steve. I said, yes, sir. He goes, who the fuck is they? I was like, okie dokie. 4 times I did that. It's kind of like when you're taking an NRA trainer's course and you say gun or weapon. Yeah. You know, you gotta throw up $5 in the kitty. Well, when I did my little class to graduate, I ended up putting $75 in there because I always say, in the military, we say weapon. We don't say firearm. I learned after $75. So John finally came back to Fort Campbell, the 5th Special Forces Group, as a qualified Special Forces Green Beret sniper, and he decides he wants to become an instructor at the sniper school with me where he started. John. I can't even talk about it. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it there.
Do you know how, I got pictures, but do you know how I got back to the sniper locker?
How'd you get back to sniper locker?
I'm on 516, and I'm on CQB team. And we go up to North Dakota because somebody in the Pentagon said, what if we lose a missile silo? Oh my gosh, we don't know.
Oh, that's right. You were the one that fell off the fast rope into the tower. Oh.
North Dakota to learn how to take down missile silos.
Nuclear missile silos.
Yeah. So they got us a missile silo, and I worked my way into the first 4 guys who go down on ropes. Maybe I'm not supposed to say this, but anyways, when we had the full call out, I'm the number 1 guy. So they blow the hatch. I'm hooked up. I get slapped on the helmet. I jump. I hear something go ka-ching. And all I can think of is PLF. 38 feet, 4 stories to the bottom of a missile silo to a 4-foot thick steel floor. And I get back up because I have a point of domination to go to. So I'm kind of like going on all
See,
threes.
that's Special Forces down right there.
I'm on all threes with gun up, and everybody down there. Command's all down there. They finally stopped me and fix me up, haul me out, take me out on backboard, all the way back up that thing, you know, and nobody knows what's going on. And the medic went down, looked down at me, and looks up, and I guess he just goes, you know. So anyway,
It's kind of like Black Hawk Down when the guy fell off the rope, and the guy goes, "What happened?"
Yeah.
So down. He says he fell off the rope, and the guy goes, "He fell off the rope?" Like, we don't fall off the rope, you know. We just don't. So what was that? Say that sound again.
what's that?
You heard that sound? What was that sound?
Ping or something?
Ping. The snap link snap.
No, it was 2 syllables.
Ka-ching.
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 Yeah. So what was a ka-ching?
Well, what happened was I'm hooked up in the back.
Right?
And they had an aluminum carabiner, and I've been fighting this all week. I want a steel carabiner. Well, no, we can't do this, blah, blah, blah. So I fought into a steel carabiner. Well, that morning, they threw an aluminum one on me. I didn't know that. And it was under my body armor. And the body armor, when it went taut, the gate was open. So when I come to the end of the rope, I didn't have no carabiner no more. I've got it now. It's in a kind of an S shape. Where it snapped. And I just...
So you came out of the chopper.
No. We get hauled out just like you know, at old dark in the morning, like somebody is taking the missile silos, and we get hauled out there, and practice blowing the hatch. The hatch is gone. 4 guys are going to go down on ropes, and then everybody else comes down the line. So I'm the number 1 guy. Got to be the number 1 guy. You know, got to be the closest one to the door. Got to be there to the door charge, which is why I wear these now. You know, so and
That's what I was telling Bill.
What?
so I go through that.
Go ahead.
And I come back, and they're like, well, while you're healing up, we can put you in a B team. No. Hey, is there any openings down at the sniper locker? Because I was down there before. You want to go down there? Yeah. So back down the sniper locker I went.
Yeah. I get a phone call. They say, "Hey, do you know a Sergeant Vanderbosch?" I go, John. What's up with John? John's out of the Q course. He's back in the unit. He's on the team. He's coming to you. I hung up the phone. And I tell Lenny Taylor, I go, "Lenny, guess who's coming back?" He goes, "Who?" I said, John. I'm going to say this one thing, and I'm going to leave it at that. I walk in the building. Students finish up. Weapons are secure. All this stuff is going on, and I have a VIP with me. And I hear a sound in the back. And it's like, he looked at me, I looked at him, he said, "Did you hear that?" And I looked at this major from USASOC, and I go, No, I didn't hear that.
Thanks, Steve.
I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. John. Ladies and gentlemen, a legend. John, I tell you what, I will say this. John will stop. He would leave his wife's side when she was having a baby, and somebody said, we have a soldier that needs to be trained.
Yeah.
I mean, she would be in contractions. They say, John, they called you, there's like 8 soldiers at a point, they need to be training right now. John would kiss his wife goodbye. John is a dedicated, focused Special Forces soldier, former Special Forces soldier. John. Buy me a beer one day, Tactical Rifleman Nation, and I'll tell you some John stories. I'm not going to put it on live stream because I learned live stream is forever.
Steve, we are going to get Ronnie out of here. And been a pleasure.
And we're going to have everyone that wants to have a picture with Mr. Ronnie Barrett. He's going to take pictures before he leaves. And that is an order.
Yes. That's not you guys out there. I'll tell you what, though. Ronnie, always a pleasure. Thank you, sir. And I look forward to seeing you back. I'll check you out the NRA
I would
show.
also say,
Don't be a stranger.
Gus.
He's coming right there.